Elise moved through the glass and steel halls like a shadow. No one ever noticed the janitor in the early morning hours, not the executives charging into meetings, not the assistants juggling coffee and crises. She was invisible, and that suited her fine. There was quiet power in knowing the building better than the people who ran it. She knew which printers always jammed, which managers never recycled, and which offices whispered secrets after dark. Her job wasn't glamorous, but Elise didn't need glamour. She needed stability. After losing her parents young and raising her younger brother alone, routine became her refuge. Every morning, she was up before the city stirred. Every night, she returned to her small apartment with aching feet and the dignity of work done well. No recognition, no awards, but no mistakes either. That was her pride. Not being noticed meant not being wrong. Still, there were days when even her armor of routine cracked. Like when she corrected a misplaced report in the copying room, one page swapped, one minor error. She hadn't signed it, hadn't taken credit. But days later, she overheard a department head say it saved a major contract. No one knew who fixed it. Elise just kept walking. It was during one of these unnoticed days that her life tilted. She'd stepped outside for a rare moment of sun during her break. The office daycare was across the plaza, surrounded by low fencing and a few distracted nannies scrolling their phones. Elise sipped her tea and watched without meaning to. Then the scream. A child, maybe 5, dashed out of the gate unnoticed. Elise's heart kicked as she dropped her cup and ran. The boy was halfway into the street before she caught up, arms scooping him just as a car screeched. Her knee hit the pavement. He clung to her shirt, sobbing. "Hey, it's okay," she whispered, holding him tight. "You're safe." The driver honked angrily and sped off. The nannies arrived late, panicked. Elise stood, blood seeping through her pants, brushing dust from the boy's hair. He was shaking. That's when the black car rolled up. Glossy, armored, silent. The back door opened, and out stepped a man in a tailored coat, eyes dark as winter. He scanned the scene, then locked on Elise. No, on the boy in her arms. "Liam," he said, voice sharp with fear. The boy turned and ran into his arms, burying his face in the man's chest. Elise backed away, ready to disappear. But the man looked up, and everything stilled. He stared at her as if he'd seen a ghost. No one had ever looked at her like that, not shocked, not grateful, but changed. As if something irreversible had happened just by seeing her face. He opened his mouth to speak, but Elise was already walking away, limping slightly, head down, vanishing again into the life no one noticed. Let me know if you want to continue with Section 2, F, a script adaptation, F, or character spotlight, F, next. Marcus Hale didn't forget faces. Especially not the one that had held his son with such fierce calm. He'd spent a decade building Hale Tech, learning to read people in seconds. Boardroom liars, media manipulators, false smiles. He dissected them all. But her? She hadn't asked for recognition. She hadn't stayed to be thanked. She had vanished. Security scoured footage. Useless, files corrupted, angles conveniently missing. The daycare claimed ignorance. Liam only said, "Miss E saved me," and refused to elaborate. Marcus had dealt with threats before, corporate takeovers, hostile bids, PR traps. But this was different. This was personal. His son could have died. Someone had tampered with daycare security and erased the evidence. Not a coincidence. He ordered a full internal review. While the board debated and PR scrambled, Marcus stared at the one clear frame they salvaged, a woman holding Liam, one hand bleeding. There was nothing extraordinary about her. And yet everything was. He couldn't stop looking. His team pulled HR records. No one matched the face. Days passed. Then the breakthrough came from an unexpected source. A junior analyst cross-referenced uniforms. Only one staff member had been clocked in near the daycare at that time without a specific task assigned. Elise Bennett. Janitorial staff. No complaints. No commendations. A ghost on paper. Marcus went silent. He had her file brought up. Scanned it. Modest background. Community college dropout. Guardian to a younger brother. No debts. No criminal record. A perfect nobody. Which made her even more dangerous to whoever had planned the attack. Marcus didn't waste time. He walked into his own building at midnight, unannounced, and found her alone in the East Wing, emptying trash bins. She didn't flinch when he approached, just looked up, cautious. "You're Elise Bennett." A pause. "Yes, sir." "You saved my son." She hesitated. He ran into the street. "I just reacted." Marcus studied her. No performance. No humility fishing for praise. Just facts. "You disappeared." "I thought that's what people like me are supposed to do." Not meek. Not bold. Just clear. Marcus said, "You're not invisible anymore." She blinked.
He didn't ask.
He told, "You're coming with me. I want you near my son." She narrowed her eyes. "I'm not a nanny. I don't need a nanny. I need someone I trust." She shook her head. "I don't belong in your world." Marcus didn't argue. Neither do most people in it. He walked away without waiting for agreement. Behind him, Elise stood still, unsure if she'd just been promoted or threatened. Neither of them knew it yet, but this wasn't about gratitude. It was about something bigger. Something dangerous. And Elise was already in it, whether she liked it or not. Let me know if you want Section 3, F, a voiceover version, F, or scene-by-scene breakdown, F next. Elise didn't say yes. She just showed up the next morning outside Marcus Hale's office, exactly on time, holding her badge and her silence. She didn't ask questions. Neither did he. Liam ran to her like she was family. She knelt, hugged him tight, and didn't say a word about how she'd barely slept or how strange this all felt. The boy's grip told her everything. He felt safe. That was enough. People stared. Not at Marcus. At her. The janitor walking beside the CEO. Whispers trailed them down the hall. Elise ignored them. Marcus introduced her as Liam's personal aide. No one questioned it out loud. But behind the smiles were questions, judgments. Elise heard them. She just didn't care. She paid attention. Not to titles or egos, but to patterns. She noticed when a senior exec flinched at a memo, or when a secretary typed faster after a hushed call. She noticed Marcus skipping meals and Liam faking headaches to stay near her. She said little, did less. But what she did mattered. One morning, she quietly flagged a toy in Liam's backpack. Something was off. It buzzed when it shouldn't. Marcus had it scanned. Hidden tracker. Internal breach. Security scrambled. Elise just kept watching. Later that week, she overheard a conversation while wiping a glass wall. Two IT staff whispering something about Phase 2 and how the boy shouldn't have been there that day. She wrote it down, gave it to Marcus without drama, just handed him the note. He looked at her, really looked. "You were never just a janitor, were you?" Elise shrugged. "I was." No one noticed. He nodded slowly. "They will now." That afternoon, she saw her name on a staff memo, without warning, without approval. Elise Bennett, executive assistant to the CEO. She almost walked out. Marcus stopped her. "You've seen more in 2 weeks than my board has in 2 years. I didn't ask for this. You earned it." She didn't say thank you. He didn't expect her to. That night, she walked Liam to sleep and found another note waiting on her door. No envelope. Just words. "Walk away. Last warning." She folded it neatly, slid it into her drawer, and locked it. Then she made tea and sat down to review the building's third-floor access logs. Let me know if you'd like to continue with Section 4. F. See a suspense trailer script. F. Or explore a character spotlight for Elise. F. Marcus read the access logs Elise flagged. Times didn't line up. One name repeated. Jared Voss, head of operations.
Trusted. Polished.
Always early, always prepared. Too perfect. Marcus didn't like perfect. He liked reliable. Jared was something else. He didn't confront him.
He watched.
Elise did the same. Quietly mapped his schedule, tracked his routes, listened for inconsistencies. Jared kept circling the daycare wing. No reason.
No children.
No meetings.
Just passing by.
Then came the forged request, a bogus maintenance order Elise intercepted. It would have rerouted Liam's daily routine. Different hallway. Different elevator.
Different line of sight.
She handed it to Marcus. You trust him? Marcus studied the signature. I used to. It wasn't just about Liam anymore. Hale Tech was bleeding information, project details, prototype leaks, insider strategy, all traced to decisions Jared influenced. Elise pieced it together in silence, every line of data forming a clear picture of betrayal. That night, Marcus invited Jared for a drink.
Kept the tone light.
Talk numbers, growth, global markets. Then paused mid-sentence. Elise thinks you're lying. Jared laughed. Too quickly. Your janitor? Marcus stared through him. My eyes. My filter. The only person in this company who doesn't pretend. Jared faltered. She's paranoid. She's right. Marcus slid the forged order across the table. You moved Liam's schedule without clearance. Jared's smile cracked. Coincidence.
No.
Calculation. Jared stood, ready to walk. Careful who you trust, Marcus. That girl? She's just looking for power. Marcus didn't flinch. She had power the moment she didn't ask for it. The next morning, Jared's badge was deactivated. HR didn't know why. Legal wasn't told. But Elise saw Marcus's shoulders relax for the first time in weeks. Later that day, Liam hugged her and said, Dad says you're magic. She knelt down.
No, sweetie.
I just pay attention. That night, another note slipped under her door. You were warned. It's not over. She read it once calmly. Then she started checking which staff had building access after midnight. Let me know if you're ready for Section 5. F. Want a twist outline? F. Or prefer a voiceover script version? F. The threat escalated. Elise didn't flinch. She adjusted. She began logging everything, elevator patterns, motion sensor glitches, who lingered in hallways they had no business being in. She memorized routines, not just Liam's, but the building's. She saw a janitor's cart left unattended one night. Wrong side of the building, wrong equipment. When she checked, the ID card had no photo. She reported it. Quietly. Marcus listened. Security didn't. 2 days later, a system outage hit the daycare wing. Liam was with Elise when it happened. All cameras froze. Power flickered.
Doors jammed.
She didn't wait. She got him out through a service stairwell, hand on his back the whole time, calm but fast. No panic. Just precision. By the time backup systems came on, they were already in the executive suite. Safe. Marcus arrived seconds later, breath tight. His eyes met hers. No words needed. That night, he ordered a full lockdown of internal systems. Elise helped lead it. The staff started whispering.
Who was she?
Why was the CEO taking orders from a janitor? Why did IT follow her lead? Why did Marcus stop mid-meeting just to hear her thoughts? She didn't answer.
She didn't need to.
She found patterns no one else saw. She flagged another false maintenance request, traced it to a shell contractor. The fake ID on the janitor's cart? Disguised as part of a supplier audit. Elise broke it apart, layer by layer. Marcus brought in private investigators. But it was Elise who pointed them where to dig. They uncovered a rival firm funding an internal mole operation, small leaks, little moves, building over time toward a larger strike. It wasn't just about Hale Tech. It was about Liam.
The heir.
The vulnerability. Marcus stared at the full report Elise helped compile. He said nothing for a long time.
Then,
you should have been running this place. She shook her head. I don't want a title. I want the threats gone. He nodded. Elise stood to leave. Then paused. You're surrounded by people who talk loud and say nothing. Maybe you should start listening to the quiet ones. She left. Marcus stayed behind, reading the final page. Elise's final note wasn't typed. It was handwritten. The insider isn't gone. Just quieter. Still watching. Let me know if you'd like to move into Section 6. F. Want a trailer script version? F. Or need a summary for narration pacing? F. Marcus didn't sleep. He studied every file Elise flagged, every movement she logged. She was right. Jared hadn't acted alone. Too many timed gaps, too many delayed reactions. Someone else was inside. And they were smart. Elise noticed the shift. The tension in Marcus's shoulders. The way he stood behind Liam a little too long before school. She didn't press. Instead, she focused. She combed financial ledgers, supply records, obscure vendor trails. The weak link was always hidden in routine. Then she found it. A vendor ID used twice. Once for tech hardware, once for catering. Same driver. Different name. She ran it through a database. Dead match. Former Hale Tech employee. Fired 3 years ago. Access still active under an alias. She brought it to Marcus. He stared at the screen. He's still in the system? Elise nodded. He never left. Marcus moved fast. The man was arrested quietly, without headlines. But something still felt wrong. The breaches stopped, but the silence was too clean. Elise kept digging. One night, she was late leaving. Liam had fallen asleep in her lap, and she stayed until his breathing steadied. As she walked out, a shadow moved behind the stairwell. She didn't run. She waited. A man stepped out. Clean suit. Unfamiliar face. "You've made enemies," he said. Elise didn't respond. "You've unbalanced things." She tilted her head. "You're not from inside. You're sent." He smiled. "Clever girl." Then he lunged. It was fast. But Elise had learned faster. She dodged, slammed her elbow into his ribs, and brought her knee up. Alarms triggered. Security descended. By the time Marcus arrived, the man was restrained, blood on his shirt, smirking. "Worth it," he whispered. "Tell Hale, the game's bigger than him." Marcus looked at Elise. "You okay?" She nodded once. In the following weeks, the company sealed every breach. Marcus reshuffled key staff. Security was rebuilt from the ground up, with Elise advising every step. She refused a public role, declined every title offered. Instead, she stayed beside Liam and kept watching the world with the same quiet sharpness. At the next board meeting, Marcus introduced her. No speech. Just a sentence. "She's the reason we're all still here." Some rolled their eyes. Others stared, but no one challenged it. Later, Elise stood at the rooftop, wind brushing her hair. Marcus joined her. "You never asked why I trusted you." "I never needed to." He studied her face. "You saw everything I missed." "Why?" She looked at the skyline. "Because I was trained to be invisible, and invisible people see everything." He nodded, thoughtful. Then he said, "I don't want you invisible anymore." She turned to him. "Then stop surrounding yourself with people who need to be seen." They stood there in silence. Below them, the city pulsed, fast, ruthless, distracted. And somewhere in the chaos, a quiet woman had changed everything without needing credit, title, or applause. She just paid attention. Let me know if you'd like help turning this into a full script, F, a voiceover-ready version, F, or a series continuation idea, F.